What's good? It's your boy DJ Pryce Miyagi. I just want to say thank you to everyone who supported the podcast so far. We doing numbers and we want to continue to go up, but we need your support. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you're in tune every time we drop a new podcast episode. Listen, I ain't gonna hold y'all up. Thank you again for your support. Now let's get into another Can We Talk episode. Salute. What's good, my peoples? What's good? It's your boy DJ Pryce Miyagi, and we back with another one. Oh yeah, we back with another one. It feel good, don't it? Can We Talk podcast? Y'all know what we doing. We doing numbers, man. We moving and grooving. We doing it big. Hey, listen, I'm feeling good right now. Hope y'all feeling good. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, as you should be. And we about to get into another episode. Hey, keep in mind, August 6th, I got something special for y'all. Big announcement about the podcast. Hey, things is going crazy right now for me. I'm excited. I want y'all to be excited because y'all been on this journey with me, and we're going to keep this thing moving. But let's get into this podcast episode. Right now, I got a special guest in the building, a very special guest, and we're going to have a great conversation today. I want y'all to show some love. Can We Talk podcast from my girl, Nickole. What's good with you, mama? How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm feeling good.
Feeling good, feeling great?
Mm-hmm.
Feeling good, feeling great.
Hey.
Feeling great, feeling good. How are you?
I'm good.
A little bit outcast, but yes, I'm feeling good. So let's get into this conversation here on the Can We Talk podcast. I'm glad you're here. I know we've been talking about getting here for a second. Now we're here, so let's have this conversation. So before we get started, I kind of want to know your opinion and how you feel about the vaccine. Dun, 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 dun. So I like to ask people how they feel about it. Have you been vaccinated? If not, what's your opinion on it? Just how you feel about the vaccine?
That's a tough one. I am not vaccinated.
Okay.
And I'm not. I guess I'm kind of like, people are going to do what people want to do.
Right.
And I just don't like the fact that right now they are forcing certain things to happen that kind of hoax us into getting it. And I'm just not really feeling that part. I think it should still be a choice. I want people to be safe. But I have not really decided for myself if that's something I want to do.
No, I feel that totally, and I get a lot of people's messages like that as well. Some of them are against it, some of them on the fence with it, and some of them are really with it. And I'm one of those ones. I've definitely been vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated. For me, it's just I want to have a fighting chance with this vaccine. And if I catch COVID, I want to be able to come on the other end of it, alive. Because some people haven't been, and it doesn't stop you from getting it, but it definitely gives you a fighting chance. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I went ahead and got vaccinated. Most of my family is vaccinated right now. So, we doing good. But, soon you might have to, especially if you want to get on that plane, you're going to have to get vaccinated.
And I love traveling. And that's one thing that's like, ooh, that's going to be the one for me. But, I've never even got a flu shot. So for me, you have to let your body get exposed to things to build those immunities, right? And I think if you spend too much time like constantly being on top of everything, clean, you get sick more.
Right.
So you have to have some form of, the way that your body can fight things off naturally. So for me, if they hit me with the, hey, you can't travel, then I'm forced into it, and that's when I might make that decision because I like to travel.
I feel that. Or, you just got to hop in your car and start driving everywhere.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Because I ain't going to lie, I've been all through the South, especially as of late. And what I've noticed in the South, when I got there, I said COVID must have skipped the South because I'm going to promise you, nobody wears a mask down there.
No.
Now everything is open. People kind of, but when I was down there, that's when you had to have the mask. You wore the mask in the line wherever you went, but once you got inside, that thing was off.
It's off.
It's crazy, but that's the world we live in. Hopefully, they get this thing under control so we can get back to some type of normalcy. But if not, hey, I'm ready for the adjustment as well. So let me ask you, because now everything's opening back up, but when the pandemic first hit, how did you deal with it? How'd you cope?
I did okay. You know, it was a little scary at first. I literally had just quit my job, so that didn't help. But I don't watch the news. I haven't watched, any type of, news channels. I do watch TV as far as like Netflix and stuff like that, but no news. And literally I was planning a trip to California. I was already packed. I was ready to go. And my coworker, mentioned the pandemic. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like, what's happening? Like, what is that? And
so wait, you mean to tell me you haven't watched no news, no TV? You didn't know nothing that was going on?
Nothing.
Oh, that's crazy.
For almost 2 years. Yeah, I don't watch it.
What made you make that decision?
It was so negative, and I'm trying to get myself right. Right. I'm trying to switch on my brain to positivity and just stay focused on things. And I just felt like it, like you said before, we're so concerned with, what we put in our body,
right.
But what happens when we put into our brain?
True.
And so a lot of that brought like anxiety and worry and, these fear factors. And I just didn't want to feel that way. So I cut that out. And I do catch some things like, obviously social media,
right.
Or little clips of something, but to sit in front of the TV and really just hear all this stuff that's going on in the world, it really gave me anxiety and stuff. So I just cut it out.
No, I totally get
that. And I feel
that.
tons better. Like, life is good.
Yeah, but 2 years is a long time.
I know. Maybe, I should tap back into some stuff. But
stuff, just something.
Just a little bit.
Maybe some notifications on your phone to catch clips or something.
Yeah, I catch some stuff. But
right.
It was just too much. It was too much negative in the world. And it was just really sad. So
I feel it. So let's kind of get into your history. Yeah. Now, are you originally from Portland? Did you move to Portland? Are your parents from Portland? Like, how'd you get here?
I was born in Portland.
Okay.
My dad was in the military. My mom was kind of a Rolling Stone, so we moved around quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I stayed in Montana, Illinois, Chicago. Florida was the place that I lived prior to coming back to Portland.
Okay.
I was right out of Tampa, so
nice.
Very diverse. My grandmother had like a restaurant that I used to work, just as a kid, summer job type stuff. But I ended up moving out here, staying with my dad, and been out here ever since.
That's dope. So you kind of grew up bouncing around.
Mm-hmm.
But so when did you actually come back to Portland for the long haul?
I think I was like 14, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you've been here for a while now. Then that's dope, man. So how you like Portland? You love it here? I mean, how you feel about it?
It's a love hate.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's a love hate. I love it. There's a lot of potential. I love the scenery. I'm definitely about just obviously the roots, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I wish there was more diversity.
Right.
I wish there was, a little bit more of some things and less of other things. And I don't think I see myself being here permanently.
I can totally.
But I do
you.
love it, right?
I could totally feel you on that. I feel the same way. I can't see myself being here permanently. Mm-hmm. But hey, we here now, right?
It is what it is.
So let me ask you, what high school did you go to, or middle school you go to? 14, you about high school. What high school did you go to?
I kind of did some like late junior high here. But I graduated in 99 at Century, which was kind of on the...
Class of 99, you know what it is. Hey!
Yeah,
Let's
so
go.
99, and that was at Century High School, so that was like the Hillsborough area.
Okay.
Yeah, but I stayed kind of like in that Beaverton area, but went out to school out there.
Okay, so outskirts of Portland. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So I grew up Northeast Portland, born and raised. Went to Woodlawn Elementary for the most part. I went to a couple other elementaries like Boise and Sabin, but mostly Woodlawn. That's where I ended up, getting promoted from the middle school. Went to Whitaker, Tubman, and also Grant. But then I had a kid at a young age at 17, so I ended up dropping out. But, I ended up going back, and I'm still in school currently, about to graduate here next year. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, I'm from Portland, Northeast. This is my city. This is my home. Mm-hmm. I love it here. But I do feel like, my time might be short here. Mm-hmm. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of get into some other stuff about you. So, and while we're here today, I know you have a nonprofit called Elevated Him. Mm-hmm. So I kind of want to get into that because it's very interesting. Now, I've been watching you online for a while. You've been putting in a lot of work, a lot of work. And I like what you got going. But for my people who don't know and haven't seen, we want to kind of break that down from. So let's kind of say, what sparked you to do the nonprofit Elevated Him?
Unfortunately, there's tragedy with this. So about 10 years ago, my brother committed suicide. And, you know, it is a different type of loss. You know, you can have somebody who gets in a car accident, you know, cancer, and there's some closure. But with suicide, there's no closure. You're always left with why, or how did I not see the signs, or, you know, did I miss something, or, you know, you take a lot of that blame. And so it was very devastating for me. It kind of flipped my world upside down, because that was my dog. Like, that was my everything. We were super, super close, and he had came over to my house, and we were just hanging out. Like, you know, he lived literally a couple blocks away just so we could be close. And he came over, we had chili, we were watching a football game, we were just chopping it up. And you could kind of tell he had some weight on him as far as just, you know, his thoughts and stuff. But I was like, hey, you good? And he was like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, I just got to figure some stuff out. Are you free to help me? I need to go to the courthouse, because he was trying to basically, you know, wanted to get some visitation with his son, which is on the East Coast. And so he was obviously going to be going through some, you know, court matters with, you know, custody. So I knew that played pretty heavy on him, but I was like, hey, yeah, I got the day off tomorrow. I'll meet you at the courthouse. We'll get some coffee, you know, whatever. And he never showed up. He didn't make it. So I was devastated. I got the call. He had roommates at the time, and I just couldn't believe it. And it was very, very difficult, because he was the type of dude that would talk anybody out of a situation like that, you know? And so for him to make that decision, I was lost. So there was a thought of mine for a very long time to create like a clothing closet, you know, something that I could use his stuff and it would help somebody else. And so I wrote down notes like, oh, I want to do like a clothing closet. It'd be called William's Closet. And it would just have like the gear for the guys, and it would have like some job resources and stuff. Cause he was in and out of the system as well. He did, 6 years, probably about a total of 10. But there was no major line of depression, or he never went to a doctor and was like, oh, you got this. And, you got to take medication or nothing like that. So, it just was always a thought to do something, and my life took off. I basically started to facilitate the first suicide support group in Washington County.
Nice.
And through helping others heal, I was healing. Right. And I didn't understand the magnitude of even that power. And so, I got my job at the airline. I'm traveling, kind of putting things. I was going through a divorce myself. And so life for me was happening on top of still hurt. Right. So long story short, I was working for Alaska Airline, and I was just not happy. I worked really hard day in and day out, showing up for work. I had 2 jobs and was going through, my own personal things. And I sat in my car and I was like, I'm miserable. Like, what do I do? And I got this sense to quit my job. And I'm like, did I just hear that right? Right. Nobody just gets the okay to quit their job, like
you had nothing else in play.
Nothing else going on.
I just feel like I'm gonna quit right now.
I'm just gonna quit, no big deal. So I made that decision. I went in the next day. I handed in my badge. Told them what was up. They were like, "Hey, we get it. We appreciate you, and feel free to apply if you ever want to come back." And then, like a few weeks later, the pandemic happened. So
this wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is fresh.
This is first of all, let me say my condolences to you, of course, and your family.
Thank you.
Now, before you move forward, like with your brother, like was there something, like you said there was no signs, but did you ever figure out why this happened, or
no? He did leave letters.
Okay.
He left one to both of his kids' mom, and then he left one as a general to the family. And we did have the family come over to my house, and we read that letter out loud. And him and I were so close. Like, I can't even, analyze like just how deep our friendship was.
Right.
But he didn't mention me. He mentioned my dad. He mentioned my mom. And you could just hear the hurt, when they were reading it, just like the words that he used. He was hurt. And he felt like what I got out of it was, you guys are better off without me. You know, it was cool. Tell my kids I love them, but I'm out. No real explanation, but just like, Mom, you could have done this. Dad, you didn't do this. You know, a little bit of anger there.
Right.
That just kind of chopped it up to, it's done. I'm out.
Just kind of
That's
gave
it.
up.
Yeah.
That's wow. So now fast forward. So that's kind of what the inspiration was. So now you quitting your job. What did you do? Did you just? I mean, I can imagine like me making a decision. I got to have something else. You know what I mean? In play. So like how was that for you?
Well, I had 2 jobs. I was working full time over at the airline, and then I was I've been at a makeup company for about 10 years now, and so I was able to really fall back on that. But with the pandemic happening, everything shut down. So I did have a little bit of leeway there. So I knew I had some security in quitting my main job. However, when the pandemic hit, I was like so blessed that I had saved my money. I wasn't doing anything.
Right.
I was just on my grind working. I'm building back up my house, just refurnishing stuff and just really getting myself together. So I saved everything. I didn't really have anything to do. So luckily in that situation, being shut down, I was able to paint. I was able to spend more quality time with my kids. I read 10 books. I'm a nut when it comes to reading.
Nice.
And so I just educated myself more and more and more. But it was just the craziest thing because it dawned on me again. And I told myself, if I ever heard about this, thought about doing a nonprofit in my brother's name, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And so I heard it, and I stayed up until like 3 o'clock in the morning, Googling how to start a nonprofit, what to file, where to file, and I did.
That's dope.
I did.
Man, I got a nonprofit as well. Off camera, I want to talk to you about a couple of things as well. But yes, that's dope. So now tell me, so with the nonprofit getting it started, so you're starting from the beginning. So like, how'd you come up with the name? Like, what was your first steps? Give me like the first few steps to get this thing going for you.
Yeah. So, for me, elevate was my favorite word, and it wasn't because of Drake. Let's just get that straight. I love you, Drake, but it wasn't because of that.
Drake,
it wasn't
Drake. Okay, no. Drake, no credit for you, Drake. No credit.
But I just love that word because it didn't matter what you had going on in your life. You could always elevate out of it, or you could, there's a plus to that. So like if you were somebody who wanted to, elevate your health, you're going to go to the gym and eat right. If you were somebody who wanted to elevate your knowledge, you're going to maybe go back to school or get into some books. So everything that was looking up, arising above anything like those types of, examples, for me, it was like elevate out of the darkness, elevate to your best potential. And him, when I say elevate him, it was geared to my brother because that was my him. And everybody knows a him, right? So it could be your father, it could be your brother, it could be your son, it could be whoever who can take place of that him. Some people look at it as like a Christian thing, which, hey, that's cool. If that's your calling and you want to take it as that, that's great. But I'm not a missionary type, this is not elevating God, but I'm giving God credit for putting me in position to elevate outside of self. So I'm doing God's work through this. So I just want to make that clear because sometimes that gets kind of twisted where they think, oh, only God should be elevating men. That is true, but God also had disciples and he had people to do out the work. So that is my job. Right. And so that's how I brought it all together.
That's dope. So now, like, when you're doing this nonprofit, elevating him, what are you bringing to the table? Like, what separates you from everyone else?
First of all, this is strictly men. Okay. So this is a nonprofit geared to strictly men, and there's layers to this, right? So there's going to have, a lot of dimensions. So, of course, suicide prevention and awareness. So that just basically means when you look at the numbers, men are 3 times higher than women in suicide. That is a very high number in men, like in death in men as suicide. So when you look at that, it made me think, okay, well, why are they doing that? Because I can't get my wife or my brother. It's too late now. Right. So I'm going to investigate a little bit. I'm going to dig deep and I'm going to find out why. And so just like kind of how I'm going to use this, analogy. women have breast cancer and they die at a very high rate due to breast cancer. But we don't talk about the fact that men get breast cancer because they're not dying at the same rate as women, right? So we're going to obviously push and create, nonprofits and movements based on who's dying at a faster rate.
Right.
But what bothers me is we know as a society that men are dying at a faster rate through suicide, and nobody's touched that.
Talk about it.
So to me, it was like, okay, if men are dying at a faster rate with suicide, and like, is there no resources? Like, what's going on here? So when, again, I started to kind of dig through some stuff, I realized that women and children had a lot more support, which is great. I'm a female. I've had to use some stuff, right? So definitely understand to that magnitude that there's maybe more of a need for women to have that type of support. But when men aren't given the same support and they're expected to do so much and provide and be leaders and be strong and not talk about stuff and be a man, whatever that looks like, right? We don't even know anymore. But then you have these men that are having to deal with so much pressure, literally suffering in silence.
That's true.
And then the only option out is to taking your life. So for me, in the nonprofit, and what I provide is men's resources, so I can community connect. If you needed a food basket, if you needed a church, if you needed, housing, whatever, I'm going to connect you with some people. The other thing is going to be the suicide prevention. So just understanding that suicide is real, it's very strong in men, and I just wanted to, inspire and get you out of that darkness. Creating men's groups where we can have conversations just like this, get men to be okay not being okay.
Right.
Let's be vulnerable. Let's get some answers, because closed mouths don't get fed, and women like me can't help you unless you're willing to talk about it.
That's a fact.
Right? This is what we're on, right? Can we talk?
Can we talk? Let's talk about it.
Exactly. We gotta, own that.
Facts.
And then I brought in some business suits, which is really interesting. So when I travel, I go to Atlanta, Texas. I've been all over. I noticed that in certain areas, it's almost like if you're not looking some type of way, it kind of gives off a vibe. So I was like, well, what if I kind of brought like the suits? Now, my brother wasn't a suit guy. Right. But when you look good, you feel good.
That's a fact. And to be honest with you, that's something that as men we've heard in sports. Make sure your uniform is tucked in, because when you look good, you play good. You know what I'm saying? So that is true, because it gives you some type of self-confidence. A little more just like a man. When we go to the barbershop, we get that fresh cut. Oh, we walk out feeling like $1 million. You can't tell us that. I'm only got $3 in my pocket and maybe 20 in my account. But boy, I feel like $1 million right now, and it's facts. That confidence is big when you're looking good. So I like that. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I get to my bag from time to time.
For real, and that's exactly the kind of energy that I wanted to get. with providing the suits and getting you looking good. Getting you feeling good, because really, I strongly believe, and again, this is my total opinion. Right. I'm not a doctor. Right. I don't have no 30 years in school with a degree, but this is my personal opinion. So I look at suicide as situational. Nobody is born with depression, just like we're not born with racism.
Facts.
Right. So we are brought with, trauma. We go through situations, we go through breakups, we go through losing jobs. Like, everybody has dealt with something very similar to the next person.
That's a fact.
So if you were to shake up a pop can and you open it up, it's going to explode.
That's a fact.
So if we're not coping, if we're not getting through our issues, if we're not reaching out to people, or even like if you need something and speaking on that, it seems like that is the direction it goes. So again, building confidence, inspiring men to be elevated, to be at their best. I've actually walked into a store before completely like suited up, looking good, and I'm getting, hey girl, how are you? Welcome to the store. Like there's a whole like even people treat you differently.
That's a fact.
It's like they think you are somebody.
That's a fact. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm an experience we just had recently. Me and my guys, we just had a little photo shoot with the team, and afterwards we all went out to go eat. And everywhere we walked, everybody's asking us, "Man, you guys look good. Where you going? Where you coming from?" I mean, it was just all eyes on us. The conversation when we walked by was geared towards us, and even that helps you feel good.
Absolutely.
When you got strangers coming to you, giving you compliments out of nowhere. Just even if you ain't looking good, you might be smelling good. You smell wonderful. What you got on? Just something so small like that have built that confidence. All right, yeah, that's dope. So I kind of want to just ask you a question. I want to talk about a topic. Maybe this might run into what you're doing. And I think it may, but if it don't, I still want to talk about it with you, just because of our past discussion we just had. Yeah. So demasculation. So I notice for me when that word resonates with me, because I see what the images are. The images that are portrayed on TV, through music, through just everything. And they say the one that controls the images controls the brain. And I see a lot of demasculation being put out there, but I want to know your opinion about it. How do you feel about demasculation?
Man, that's heavy, because I don't like it. I don't like that at all. And I see it a lot in, music videos to TV, right. And don't get me wrong. And I need to make this very, very clear. This is not about me not supporting women. Okay. This is not me supporting men in their dysfunction. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not condoning foolishness. Right. But what I have noticed, with TV and the culture now and everything like that, there is a huge level of demasculating. And, it's heartbreaking, because it just seems like, when people say they want equality, that's supposed to be across the board. Facts. And right now we are in a position, in a culture, in a world where that's not really happening, right? Because we wouldn't have all these other issues. But my point is, when you demasculate men, we don't have a role. Facts. We don't know our roles anymore. And I'm not saying that maybe things have come to a point where we don't need traditional things anymore. We kind of, we evolve. Right. However, when you have to sit there and verbally abuse a man, we don't talk about the things that men go through. Like, I've had a lot of men reach out and say that they were molested as a child. So whatever she has gone through, she best believe that he's gone through something. That's a fact. Or at least a man has. And so I'm not putting men on a pedestal, and I'm not trying to, push women down. I want it to be an equality, an uplifting, because at the end of the day, good men go through what good women go through, and we just can't be blinded to that. So I don't like the whole demasculinity. I just don't think that's fair, especially when some women, are like, they want husbands. Right. It's like, well, are you being a wife? Okay. Listen, and I'm glad you said that. Let's talk about it. So, and I want to piggyback on what you just said. So my thing is like, women, they want a husband, but they want the husband for the title, for the look, just to say I'm married. But they don't want to play the position of the wife that comes with that. It's almost like you want the job, but don't want to follow the job description. Right. Correct. And so, and it's crazy, because a woman would be like, no, I am doing this. But if you really look at it and look at the big picture, you might see that you're not. You're not. And a lot of women don't want to, I think, accept that. Because, a woman, I got my role, I play my role. You want to feel like that's what you're doing. Even as a man, you want to feel like I'm playing my role. Sometimes men, we're not playing our role. We think we are, but we not. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I noticed that with women, they almost feel like this is impossible. You want the husband, but you don't want to play the role of the wife, or really abide by the job description it takes to be that wife in that relationship. But I just want to get your opinion on that. How you feel about that? Yeah, I had to learn, and again, I have been through the ringer with men. So this is like something I can speak very true to.
Okay.
I've had my heart broken. I've been through a nasty divorce. You know, I've been played. I've been cheated on. I've been physically abused in all sorts of ways. So again, I'm not missing the fact that women have gone through a lot of, you know, stuff when it comes to men. But moving forward, I had to turn my pain into power. I had to understand that at some day in my life moving forward that I wanted a husband, that I still wanted to have a very healthy relationship because I was tired of all the toxic ones that I was going through. So I still had goals of being a better woman and getting that. So I had to, like, again, you know, I couldn't be jaded. I couldn't view all men as the same. I couldn't, you know, hold resentment. I had to let that go. I had to really just, even if they never apologized for it, I just had to give myself the apology. Like, girl, I'm sorry, I put you through that.
And you know, it's crazy you say that because I noticed that with women a lot. A lot of times they've been through stuff and they haven't really healed from it. So they go into a new situation treating it as if this man, it's almost like this.
It's going to fix it.
Right. Or he has to pay for that other man's crime. You didn't give him a clean slate and allow him to come up with his own situation with you. You took that situation that you was with the last guy and you brought it in with this guy. So anything that looks familiar, now he's getting it taxed as if he's already done this.
Right.
And I see that a lot, and it's crazy. I don't know why, but you know, I think actually I do know why. I think it's just not, there's no healing there. There's no healing, taking time to really heal, to get over what they've been through, to understand that that's just that man, and maybe the next man is not, and maybe the next man may show that too.
Right.
But every man has to be treated as a case by case base. You can't group us all in, and I noticed that once you hurt by one, even though you do want a man though, but you're still going to treat him as if, hey, he's going to do something to me. This is going to happen. So you never really give your all. But what you do give is some unnecessary drama that man ain't really ready to deal with. It's crazy. But that happens, though. It's crazy.
And even if, like, let's say a guy lies or cheats on you.
Right.
And you think, oh, I'm a good woman. I can deal with this. But you really can't. You got to learn to be honest with yourself.
Facts.
For me, if my trust is gone, I'm not going to sit there and act like everything's cool.
Right.
But I'm also not going to sit here and make your life a living hell every day because I chose to still rock with you under the pretenses that I didn't really forgive you. Because if I forgave you, we should be moving forward and this should never come back. So women, I don't want to sound harsh like I'm not a woman supporter. I'm there and I will relate to women 100. But I also have learned a lot. So if anybody can learn anything from me, I'm just asking to be heard. I'm not here for popularity. I'm here to be heard.
Absolutely.
Because I have a lot of insight. And I just think that if, you know, my mom always used to say, be the bigger person. And so when I started to elevate him, I recognized that with all the things that I mentioned, but in my personal relationships with men, I had to, like I said, take that power or take that pain and put it into power. I had to forgive myself.
Right.
I had to understand that, you know, I'm the help. If you look at relationships biblically, women are the help.
That's a fact.
We are, nurturers by, whatever you want to say.
Nurturers,
we are
by nature. You're nurturers. Absolutely.
Thank you. And so with that, it's like, how am I the help?
Right.
If I'm sitting here calling you this and that, and I'm always nagging and I'm frustrated and I don't believe you and I'm doing all this extra stuff and I'm not the help. That's not helping anything. And so I just I had to kind of come to my own terms. I had to take full responsibility for myself, and I had to be honest with myself. Give yourself that time to heal. That's a real thing. And then with having this nonprofit and seeing a lot of men come forward, I'm telling you, ladies, it will benefit you. Because if we elevate him and we are the bigger persons, I hate it. I know it sucks. We got to be the bigger ones. But if we elevate him and get him right, there won't be so much foolishness. You won't be messing with the dude that's going to be disrespectful because he got himself right.
That's a fact.
But women are so powerful in a man's life. I don't care if it's your father, your brother, your son, your husband, whoever he is, him, you are powerful in his life.
But then also some may say, well, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, we elevate him and that's great. But I don't want a guy that's broken to the point where I got to elevate him. I want one that's already elevated. How you feel about that?
Nobody's elevated.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
We're all broken.
Absolutely.
So again, if we really got real,
right?
Yes, who doesn't want somebody perfect? But that's not realistic.
Right.
Everybody has baggage. So I don't care what he looks like on the exterior. He may, I'm looking for a trying man.
Right.
A man that tries to do his best.
Okay. I like you.
I'm being real. Like,
that's
I want a trying man.
But listen, that's real though. That's real. And I mean, a trying man is a man that has potential that you can actually work with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to keep trying. Eventually, he's going to get it. But a lot of times, the men need that support while we trying. We don't want you to give up on us just yet.
Right.
We going to get there. But I mean, like you said, we all got baggage. We all been through some things. It may look fine on the outside, but a lot of us got childhood trauma, trauma from our fathers, our mothers, siblings, whatever it comes from. We have something that we've dealt with along the way before we got to you.
Right.
And it's a lot of times we haven't ironed it out. We haven't dealt with it. We haven't gotten past it. And it might fall on your lap. But if you love me enough and you're here with me, I want you to at least try with me. Don't give up on me. Because I'm trying, especially if you see me trying.
A trying man.
Now, if I ain't trying, I'm just like, I feel you. Mama,
and
you got to
and that's where, again, you got to be honest with yourself. Like, what boundaries can you set? It's healthy to set boundaries. It doesn't mean I'm giving up on you, but I respect and value myself that I'm not going to deal with you lying. I'm not going to deal with you cheating. I'm not going to deal with you out there doing whatever. But if you're a trying man to get it right and all you need is some support, then it is my job as the help to support that.
Right.
And I just feel like, you can go get the perfect man that you think, but it just seems like if they don't take care of stuff that's real, you're easily replaced.
Right.
Especially if you're not right.
That's true.
So
and everybody always think the grass is greener on the other side. And it's so funny because what I've noticed as humans, what we do is like in a relationship, we can go through it with someone and they're telling us about ourselves and things we need to change and and what they're doing, I feel, this is my opinion, I feel what they're doing, they're seeing things about you, the potential in you of how you can be great and the things that you're doing that are making you not great in that moment. And a lot of times when you're telling somebody that they're listening, it might not register at that time, but it's definitely being stored in the data banks, right? But what I notice is that a lot of times people feel like, hey, I'm not going to put this work in with this person. I'm just going to move on because the grass is greener on the side. At least I think.
Right.
And then a lot of times you see that person that you may feel like, okay, they had all things wrong with them. They move on because you done moved on. Now they get with somebody else and then you see the perfect person. Why couldn't you do that when you was with me? And we wouldn't be here. Well, why couldn't you try and stay down with me till I got there?
Right.
And that's how I feel.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy how people don't look at it that way.
We are also in a time where everything's disposable. I mean, thank you, social media.
Facts.
We have hookups lasting longer than marriages. The values have just gone down the drain. We are so disconnected, on a real platform of loving one another and caring for each other. Now it's just like, if you do one thing wrong, I'm good. I'm gonna just go in my inbox and just talk to everybody else. It's so disposable. It's like this. We want these quick, gratifying, microwave type scenarios. And if they don't get, if we're not getting married on the third date, I'm out. That's crazy. Right. What? It takes time to build.
It takes time.
At the same time, I don't think it's fair that women need to be asking a man, what are we? Because you want to drag feet and you want to prolong your options. You know what I'm saying? But we are in a very option, opt in or out type of, world now. And so it's difficult. Relationships are very difficult. But yes, I feel like even if you're not in a relationship, just how you might treat your neighbor, how you might look at your coworker, maybe if you see somebody struggling to, again, be the help and just kind of, have some empathy. And I don't think men get a lot of that. They don't, again, like I just said earlier, young boys are getting molested. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the double standards that happen. And yet we can't call it equality if we're not looking at it from all angles and everybody involved.
Facts.
And so, yeah, it's very discouraging, but I just always say, keep your eye on the prize, stay focused, be loving, be the help, work on yourself. But elevating him, I really feel like is needed because of the suicide rate in men, because of how they deal or don't deal with things. Right. Clearly, we recognize that there are no real solid support. Mm-hmm. A lot of these men have grown up without fathers, so you got to look at it too. You only know what you know.
That is
true. And you got to give some grace.
That is true, and it's a lot of people that grow up in broken homes, and that plays a part. So let me ask you a question. And so elevating him is moving. Sounds fairly new because you said you started kind of when the pandemic hit. Yeah. So, I did hear you say that you have a location.
I do.
Okay, so that's great. So you say now, what's this location? Her clothes. So are you like, can I come there and get me a suit right now? Is it costing me, or is it something that's donated to me? Or, what kind of break that down for me?
Okay. So definitely, there's, again, a lot of layers. So I was blessed with, that was one kind of hiccup for me, because I'm like, how am I able to, properly engage and connect with, men on the suit level? I can't do that from home, right? I can't. So I did a lot of praying, and I just really connected with people. I put myself out there day in and day out, and I didn't give up. And I ended up getting a building, downtown storefront, the whole works, and building this closet of suits and stuff like that. Yeah, if there is a guy that's getting out of jail, looking for work, having some hard times, yes, I'm down to donate, because that's just the loving nature of me.
Right.
Now, I've actually just recently had a gentleman hit me up and say, hey, I just like how you put things together. Right. I am willing to donate $50 to your nonprofit, but can you put me in a personalized suit? Like, here are my, here's my sizes.
Right.
So it's kind of like a Birchbox, that if somebody was doing really well, they didn't need the Elevate Him major services.
Right.
But they just wanted to support. Yes, you can buy the stuff. You can buy a shirt. You can buy a tie. You got a wedding coming up, whatever. You just want to look good. You're getting back on the dating scene, whatever. That is there. But if there's somebody that's having some hard times, and there's men that are, like I said, coming out of the system, looking for work, then that's the time that I want to, really just give them that. And the donations and the support is going to allow me to continue to help men that need help.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We definitely got to donate and support. Now, the reason why I say that, because I seen you online, and I seen you in a picture. It was like about 10,000 suits in there. So when we talk about suits, she ain't just got 2 or 3. This woman got suits. Yeah. Okay. I was like, there's a lot of suits. Yeah. So like, how'd you come across it? Like, how'd you get all the clothing? Was that donated to you? Is this something that you just bought out of your own pocket? Like, how did you get there?
Well, at first, because I like to shop. So I was kind of like bargain shopping, and I was like, oh, Sundays at Goodwill, they got the half off. So even if something was like, $3, you're getting it for $1.50. So I was like, okay, cool. So I was just kind of doing some regular shopping of my own with my own money, putting together different ideas, because, Goodwill may have a suit, already, like the coat and the pants, but the majority of everything was like separated. So you had to get your own pants, you had to find a shirt, you had to, so everything was separated. But I'd go on Pinterest and I'm like, ooh, this is sharp. Or when I went to Atlanta or Texas or whatever, it's like I saw men out in the street wearing suits, and so I was taking notes. Okay, I got to bring this back to Portland. I got to bring this back. So as I started to piece these things together, I thought, oh, why am I paying for this when I'm going to hit them up and see if they can donate it? So I reached out to Goodwill personally, and I said, this is what I'm doing. It's going to help men. It's going to build confidence. And they hit me back with absolutely. So I have a couple stores that about once or twice a month, depending on my schedule, I will go in and I will personally handpick, good stuff. I'm talking, I got like Hugo Boss, Calvin Klein. Okay. I got name brand, really, and I make sure that there's no stains. Right. There's buttons that are on it. So I'm like detecting all this stuff. Right. And I just built my closet off their donations.
That is dope. I salute you for that, because that's dope. And the suit game is something is new for me. I really didn't do suits.
Ladies love it. Right?
I've learned, man. Me and my guys just took a pic, suited and booted, man, and the response has been crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's been nice, and so it shows that they do like it, but it did give us a self confidence in that moment. Like, yeah, we feeling good, we looking good, and you know, saying and it's a different feeling when I'm in my regular street gear, right?
Yeah.
So I do understand that. So let's talk about the resources. What type of resources do you provide to elevate him?
So I have the resources with the suits. I have different barbers volunteering to come in to cut hair. So
nice,
again,
you did say you have a barber chair.
Yep, I got a barber chair. Yeah, and so I kind of figured, okay, well, yeah, so guy's gonna look really good in a suit,
right?
And he's gonna feel good, but there's additional, like maybe he didn't have a haircut in a long time, or maybe he needs to just be trimmed up. Again, these men are going in front of judges,
right?
And I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever been to court, but you know, you get automatically judges. You
Facts.
know what I'm saying? So again, I wanted to really get men to, you know, get the haircut, get suited, get that confidence, and then just knock it out the park in their hearing or whatever they got going on. It could be anything that they go to court for, even just a job interview. I feel like men, sometimes they just forget to take care of themselves, and they just need to be encouraged. So I wanted to provide that. The resources, I've linked up with a lot of different nonprofits, even like 211. We got the list. There's the Know Me Now. There's food banks, there's churches, there's housing, there's I have jobs. I have a staffing service that rocks with me.
Nice.
So again, and these are felony friendly jobs because again, if somebody is getting out of the system, they're automatically marked.
Facts.
It's harder to get a place to live if you got a felony. It's harder to get a job if you got a felony, but they expect you guys to just figure it out. Well, your arms and legs aren't broke, so why aren't you doing something?
Right.
But I know I could go lose my job on something foolish and go get me all kinds of assistance.
Right. Facts. Easy.
So I wanted to kind of pull those resources in. So it allowed them to see that there was stuff for them. But I was just talking to a lady today, and it was kind of funny because the resources that men have openly.
Right.
You might have to go here, there, and by the time you're exhausted, you're like, I don't want to do this no more. I give up. I'm done. It's
That's
too much.
A fact. Yeah.
You give up.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say, well, let's get one-stop shop. You can get your physical look on. You can get your spiritual look on. You can have, work on your traumas. You can have all this external, internal stuff going on at one spot. You don't got to jump around to 50 other, businesses, because those businesses are working with me.
Right. They're a good
getting
thing.
it too.
Yeah. That's a good thing. That's crazy, man. So are you getting a lot of sponsorships right now? Like, I mean, we've talked about it, but I want to let the people know, because I think it's pretty dope what you got going. And just from what we discussed in our conversation, I just want to let them know so as well. But like, let them know some of the sponsors you got on with you right now.
Right now, I have a Gliss staffing service. Again, they do provide the jobs. They also have blue collar clothing. So let's say somebody was going to get in construction. Obviously, the suit wouldn't be something yet you would wear for a day-to-day job, but they would provide, work boots, work belt, stuff like that. I have Human Bean Coffee. So, we had just a coffee day where they said, okay, on this specific day, we're going to make it an Elevate Him Day. The traffic that comes through, we're going to donate X amount of dollars. And, we'll make this a consistent, thing. And that's taken off because there's more branches and more, possibilities in that, with everybody having a coffee shop like through that company. So that's their Goodwill. Like I said, they have stepped up and they continue to support and donate. I walk out of Goodwill, and if anybody shops there, when you get $1,000 at Goodwill, you're getting hooked up.
That's a fact.
Right? And so it's
a
a lot. But again, nobody would know that it was Goodwill. That's the funny thing, is because it's literally like really nice stuff. Like really nice stuff.
People understand that Goodwill usually is from somewhere else's closet. Sometimes it's new stuff, it's used stuff, but a lot of times that doesn't mean it's bad. It can be some good name brand stuff at Goodwill. I got my stepfather, he loves the Goodwill. Like, his holidays come around, we get him Goodwill gift cards. We know he go in there, he tearing it up. And he's coming up with everything, man. Salute to my stepfather, L Boogie, was good. Right. But but that's dope, man. And I gotta applaud you again. That I think it's big what you're doing. And it's definitely needed.
I want to say real quick. So my first cash donation, like the first check, now get this, it makes me like want to tear up because I had to call my dad and I was like, oh my God. But the very first financial check that came through was the company my brother worked for.
Oh, wow.
And it just felt like it fit.
Right.
It felt like this had to happen. It felt like my brother was the type of person that would help anybody, and he's helping more people than he knows being gone. It's a sad situation, but it was just it was a validating point for me. Like, okay, Bill, we got this. He's with me.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. So yeah, like I was saying, man, what you got going is just so dope to me, and I really love it. Like I said, again, another applause for you because it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of blood, sweat, tears, a lot of hard work, dedication to do anything, especially when you talk a nonprofit, because you got to start from the ground up. And a lot of times you by yourself and then you get people along the way, but of course people fall off along the way as well. But just to hear, like, you just started, so you about, what, 6-7 months in? Yeah. That's crazy, and you already making an impact. So have anybody, like, big reached out to you yet? Have you did anybody? I know you got merch and stuff. Have you got any merch to anybody famous hands yet? Have you did anything like that? Yeah,
actually, very interesting. I ended up mailing out a hoodie and a T-shirt to Mr. Leon Robinson.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Leon Robinson. So we talking about JT Matthews from 5 Heartbeats. You ain't nothing without David Ruffin. We ain't come to see you, Otis. We talking about from the bobsled team. We talking about, hey,
Madonna's like facts. A prayer video. Yeah.
That's right. He did do Madonna's video, didn't he?
Back in the 80s.
Big. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, he's a real solid dude. Like, I met him at a fashion show prior. Okay. 15 years ago. Just a real solid dude. Just super nice. And along the way, we kind of stayed in contact, but, years had gone by, and I just hit him up. I was like, hey, you remember me? He was like, yeah, what's up? So a little bit of a conversation, and next thing I know, I'm sending, the hoodie and the T-shirt to him in New York. And kind of the trend that I like to do with the merch is when you buy it, everybody's kind of into the selfies and stuff anyway. So it just seemed like this trend took off where I was getting the pictures of people in the merch, and it would be from New York, Philadelphia, Wisconsin, Tennessee, Nevada, it's everywhere that I've just been pushing, and it's really cool to see the different people on my, my platforms, my Instagram, my website, of these people wearing the merch and taking the selfies. So Leon actually sent me a couple pictures, which was really dope. And then he did a kind of like a concert, like an online concert for the COVID and the whole pandemic thing. But he tagged me on Instagram, and I was like, what the hell is he doing? And I looked at it, and he was wearing the T-shirt through his whole concert. It was just super dope. Yeah, just really cool. So I'm on a mission to really connect with all types of people. I'm trying to get more connections to more celebrities. As long as they hear the mission and I can get connected, I'm sure they'll wear it.
That's dope, man. Salute to you. That's big, man. Like I say, in our culture, Leon is huge. We all know him. Say Mr. JT Matthews, 5 Heartbeats. Like I say, man, I one of my favorite actors as well. So that's pretty dope. Like I say, again, salute to you. So now, let's say you're 7 months in, you're getting your feet wet, you're moving. It sounds like your trajectory to this is going through the roof. I can see you going big with this because it means so much. And I think it means so much to a lot of people. And I think a lot of people are going to resonate, especially when you get your mission out there more and get it seen to more people and they understand what you're doing. And that's why I'm glad you're on here, so we can let my listeners see this as well. But where do you see yourself going now? So what's the plan for you at this moment?
Man, I feel like I am limitless.
Right.
And I love reading books. I'm actually on a book called Limitless. And so I'm learning a lot about not just, business, but just how the mind works and how to believe in yourself and how to push yourself past limits.
Right.
And so I'm learning my journey as I go. It's unscripted. It's all organic. Everything that I have good days and I have bad days, you know, and there's times where I've reached out to a company and I thought for sure I was going to make it on their list or we were going to have a connection and I don't get a call back.
Right.
But there's been a lot more blessings, and I think it's just the way that it's just supposed to be navigated. A no isn't necessarily a no permanently. It could be a no right now. We are in a pandemic. I'm very aware of, companies kind of making transitions, but at the same time, the growth and the experience and the journey that I've had so far in such a little bit of time, I believe in myself to a huge magnitude that I see myself creating elevate hymns everywhere. Just like Dress for Success, where they kind of do this with women. They are known nationwide, and they've been known for 25 years. So get ready to see Elevate Him nationwide and on 50 years. Remember, this is something I can leave to my kids.
Right.
This is something that is very much needed. And I have a little bit of stage fright, but at the end of the day, I do want to be on a bigger stage. I want to have seminars. I want to talk to women about things that, I can possibly help with on that angle.
Right.
I want to hear men's testimonies on how they can help each other and how they've been elevated out of their darkness or their spots. I've already suited, 16 to 18 men.
Okay,
I've done this. I've been hands-on. Right. So these men have come in and they have gotten the treatment. And I have some testimonies, some guys have, really gone through some stuff, and you don't realize, the magnitude that you have when you get somebody to talk. These are grown men that are on the verge of crying, and it's so uplifting for them to be able to have a place to do so, to not feel judged, to not feel, demasculated, if you will. This is a way to inspire and to, say, this is not weakness.
Right.
This is not weak. This is more this is so courageous. This is, if you want to talk about being a man and you want to talk about strength, that is one of the strongest things you can do.
That's a fact.
So we got to quit keeping these stereotypes and these different types of taboos in line. No, talk about it.
Right.
And then be about it, right? Let's get out of this, this rut, and let's start elevating. And the sky's the limit for me. I'm excited. Every day is something new. And I just love the support and people believing it as well. So I think there's some big changes. It's almost like a movement. You get the women on board, wearing the shirts, the photos, everything happening. It just shows so much love as a unity, and it's going to blow up.
Well, I'm definitely going to make sure that I keep putting it out there, especially after this conversation. So everything I see, I'm going to share. I think what you're doing is dope again, and I want to see you grow. I got a feeling that you like you say, you limitless, sky's the limit for you, and I can see this going, through the roof for you, and it's going to be great to see your journey moving forward. But the only problem with it is, from our conversation, when it comes to the Elevate Him and having merch and do what you're doing is big. The only problem that I see is that I ain't got no merch.
I thought about it's in the mail.
I ain't got no shirt. I ain't got no hoodie. I ain't got nothing. Where's the merch at for me? That's all I'm saying.
That's funny you say that, though, because I was actually going to bring something, but I didn't have a chance to go to my office and grab something. And then I do have a full delivery actually being worked on by our boy. So that should be popped off here in just a couple days. But you will definitely get one for everything that you've done, and just having this conversation with me, and it'll be good.
So I can get my picture and put mine next to Leon.
Right next to Leon. Okay. You got it front and center.
So they can be he must be somebody. He next to Leon.
Yeah.
That's dope. So I want to move on to the conversation. I just want to ask you a couple questions here. So we talked a little about earlier, and I want to bring up social media because in our discussion off camera, we find out we both Aries, around the same age, so that's dope. We ain't gonna give you our age. Y'all probably know how old I am. Well. Anyways,
how young you are?
Yeah, I'm young. You're right. That's right. I'm young.
Young.
Don't let them fool you. All right, but so I want to talk to you. So we actually come from an era where we were on the tail end of the old ways in the beginning of the new ways. So when I was in school, they were telling us computers are gonna be everything. We didn't believe it. It didn't make sense at that time. We was doing number munchers and Oregon Trail games, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, cool, Carmen Sandiego, stuff like that. So, but now that we see what social media has done and what the internet has done, and how to me, I see it has affected how we are as a people, how we engage as people. And especially relationships, kind of what we touched on earlier in this conversation. How do you feel, in your opinion, and how you see it, social media has affected relationships just as a whole?
Oh Lord, you're gonna get me on something real wild right now.
Can we talk podcast? Let's go.
It's a double-edged sword, right? I think there's great things. I'm going to talk about the pluses.
Okay,
I'm just going to even this out. So the pluses are definitely being able to engage with people from all over, right? And family and friends. Like, I mean, it's cool for me to be able to be a part of my cousin's birthday on the East Coast, when I'm on the West Coast. So definitely social media, seeing the pictures, seeing my friends, my family happy doing their thing, being a part of like lives and different things. You really get to engage with people far away.
Right.
So that's one thing. The other thing is, we are able to really detect what's going on in the world, right? Media is what's kind of, that trend where we're seeing a lot of things, and some of it's ugly.
True.
Unfortunately, we've had a very horrible, year and a half with this pandemic and everything that has gone on. But we are more aware because of the footage, because of the people stepping up, because of the movements and the marches and the people just saying enough's enough. So because of that, it has kind of brought things to the forefront and making some change. That's probably the only positive thing that I can find out. So the negative.
Okay, let's go to the cons, man. I like the cons. That's what we want to talk about. Let's go.
I just, like I said before, it's really sad that people are so disposable. You can do everything right, and I'll just kind of slide you in just a little bit to my, last relationship. It was, about 2 years ago, and we met online. So I guess that's another plus, is you can actually do like online dating and meet people. You're not restricted to just the store or maybe just some local stuff. When I was working for the airline, my friend was like, girl, you need to go out and travel and you meet people anywhere. And so I got on a dating site and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just kind of see what's out there. I can travel for free, so I'm about that. We met online. Everything was cool. We really spent some time together. I was flying back and forth. I can honestly accept the fact now there was some red flags, right? And I think that I just wanted to be with them. I just wanted to see the positive. I'm a very positive person, so I never wanted to just, strike while that could have or could not been an issue. I wanted to let it kind of play out. So there were some things, but I didn't really worry about it. I ended up selling everything that I had to move down there. And I started working for another airline down in California, and I sold everything. I mean, we're talking like I had no silverware, like I sold everything. And my kids were going to come down for school once I got settled, because we were talking about buying a home and all this stuff. So we had this is like
plans.
A ring, a home, kids were merged, family, all that. So I get down there, I'm working, and it just shifted, and I started to notice, okay, he's not coming home, and now the GPS on the phones are off and on, and I saw him at a couple different apartments and just, things, and I approached him very nicely, and I said, this is, bothering me, and basically you said if anything bothered me, it bothered you, we would fix it. Like, we were grown adults. Like, we should have these conversations. Especially when you're dating. And I've just moved to be with you, so we should have these conversations.
Absolutely.
And he basically, in a nutshell, said, well, if you're going to question me, then you should probably go.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, you need something at the store? Did I forget something for that? Like, what you need at the store? Like, I'll go get it. Like, I was so, like, this is not the answer I was looking for. Anyway, so I packed up what little I had, and I drove back to Portland. And again, I'm in a good place, not jaded, and I forgave myself for putting myself in that. And I still believe in love. But when it comes to social media and how things play out, we got a lot of people, wolves in sheep clothing.
Facts.
We got people pretending. We have people that don't have true intentions.
Facts.
And, I struggle with that, because for me, character is everything. Like, those are my two things. Character and your intentions. I think that's just got to be, people just got to be real with themselves. It's funny how people want real, but they can't be real. It's like, come on.
Also, social media allows you to put your best foot forward. So all you see is the good in the person. That's all they're going to show you. I think we all do that to some degree. And when it comes to dating, it's totally different. Like, a lot of times people be relationships don't even know they in a relationship. Or if they go out somewhere, you don't even know if they by themselves or they with someone. Back when I was coming up, you knew someone was with because you see them everywhere together. Now you go out to eat, you know, because you'll see through social media, you might see an elbow, a shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You might see a back of an ear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but you might, okay, I know they with somebody, but you don't know what's really going on. So a lot of times you when you ask people, are you involved? They might say no, but they may be.
They're booed up.
And they boot up, and you never know.
You
It's
got
crazy.
the wife and kids offline, but he's online. It's wild. So again, I struggle with that, you know, because I do want to see the best in everybody. I want to believe that. But yeah, it's definitely hard when people just can't keep it real. And I don't know if it's going to change. You know, I think we're kind of at this level, this point. And like, you know, we talked off, you know, it's basically like people think it's greener on the other side. I can look at that situation that I was in and I know, and I'm not saying I'm perfect,
Right.
but I know that I did everything right.
Right.
My character was right. My honesty, I never lied to this man. I never called this man out of his name. I was, you know, a total supporter. I was, you know, inspiring. Like I was, you know, loving him to his love language, not my love language. I loved him on his love language. So I took it a step further and I still got done wrong. So it's not going to stop me from believing in love, but I think I might make some different changes. But I think social media, unfortunately, just kind of kills that vibe when you're really trying to find something solid, and there's just not a lot of solid people.
And the cool thing about it is it's never going to go back to the old way. And I like the old way, to be honest with you. You know, you had to be more transparent in that way versus social media, because a lot of things you can just keep on social media. You can deal with people strictly through social media, and it's crazy. But you know, like I said, I don't think it's ever going to change. I think this is where we're at in the world now. This is where we're going to continue to go. Will it get better? I don't know. I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah, there's too many people that just want an abundance, you know, and I get it, you know, but at the same time, I just I could never be that. I'm not going to settle to be someone's side piece or, you know, a secret. That means you don't value me. When you have something worth something, you want to show it off.
True.
You know, when something is expensive, like your car or a ring or whatever you got that's flashy, you make it known that you got that. So I want to be treated as such. Not that I need somebody to, you know, put me on a pedestal and glorify me, but the whole thing is respect me. Put me out there. Put me next to you. I want to be doing what you're doing. We should be doing things together. And if you want to hide me, then you're not for me. So if you can't grow with me, you can't go with me. And I just
Okay, wait.
Yeah, I know. I'm a preach.
What now? You said
if
what
you
now?
can't grow with me, you can't go with me.
Amen.
So I still value myself, even though, you know, my you know, tribute, like just my issues. But yeah, I have a whole different approach on that.
But also, though, I mean, you gotta look like this too, with the time frame on how situations work. You meet somebody, you don't know where it's gonna go, so sometimes you might not want to just come straight to the forefront just yet, because then when you do that and then it goes bad, then you do it again and that goes bad, it just looks like you just kind of, you know what I mean, because everybody's watching you. You know, everybody, whether they're watching directly or indirectly, they're watching you, and they say, okay, this person maybe run through a lot of partners. What's wrong with them? And then they come to you, you know what I'm saying? That can happen. So sometimes you want to be a little more strategic on when you out your situation, I feel, unless you really know you're going to rock with them that way. Because if not, and you know, you might find red flags at the beginning or whatever the case may be, something turns you off after a while. You don't want to look like you're just out here just fucking with everybody. You know what I mean? Because everybody's watching social media and everything is so instant. Like I say, hookups last longer than you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. But so I do agree with you. You do have to put your partner out there if you are really rocking with them like that. But
again, you should know at a certain point. Like, let me ask you a question. If you are, you know, rocking with somebody, do you give yourself like a time limit? Like what is a good amount of time to be exclusive and make it a solid relationship, or have the conversation of what we are? Like, you know, I found myself in situationships because I'm in a relationship, but he's not. Like, he's out there doing whatever, but he's got me off the market because it makes him feel better knowing that I'm not doing nothing. But I don't have a boyfriend. You ain't my man. You've never asked me to be your man. But in my head, I'm thinking, no, I'm in a relationship because you're doing everything that makes me feel like that. But until we have that conversation or we have that dialogue, girl, you are not that man's girlfriend. Like, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So what time frame do you think it takes for somebody to really, figure that out?
It's hard to say what the time frame is. I think it's just the feel. Like, I think once we, behind the scenes, we've merged. We've met families. We rockin' tough. Then I feel like, okay, yeah, let's bring it to the world. Because how I look at social media is, I'm in a room of a bunch of strangers. Because these people on social media, even though they may comment, I may comment back, we might interact that way, you don't really know me. I don't really know you. Mm-hmm. And so we're strangers. Now, in my world, my friends, my family, my circle, everybody's well aware. But I might not bring you to that platform because to me, until I feel like we really there, because to me, these are a bunch of strangers. I don't want to, I come from that old school cloth, like, if you don't know me, you don't need to know me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Until it's time for you to know me. So if I don't know you, why do I have to put my business out there to you?
Right.
Some people want the validation. I need to be on your social media in order for this to be right. If it ain't posted, it ain't real. If it ain't on social media, it ain't real. I don't believe that.
Right.
If you're around my mom, my sisters, my kids, my friends, my siblings, and everybody knows you, it's real. But to some strangers to be validated to make it real don't make sense to me. Right. So that's just my way of thinking. I know everybody thinks differently. That's just me. I'm just from that old school way. Like, I don't have to put you out there until I know it's real. And it's real to me is when I got you merged with everybody, then yeah, you mine, and that's what we doing. But if it's just we kicking in, hanging out, and we filling each other out, and a lot of times, it is a situationship until it graduates into a relationship. Right. I don't know when that started, but that's just the way it goes now. You go into a situationship till you graduate to a relationship, and that is crazy. I never thought about it until I just said that, but that is how that really go though.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. But just to answer your question, that's just me. Social media is different for me because I've never wanted to share my personal life with strangers. Before social media, during, and it probably be like that till after. And to me, that social media is just a bunch of strangers. But as long as my circle know, my family know, you in there. Because at the end of the day, think about you. Yes, I do. I could tell you da. I know when he do this, that, and the third, because you're entwined with me.
Right.
But to get validation for social media, nah, man, I never look for that first to say this is a real deal situation. That's just me though.
Unless there's like some hot honeys that have been following you for a while, waiting their turn, and you can kind of keep that on the back burner.
See?
And that's what happens. If she doesn't act right, then it's like, I'm not messing with you no more. And then is it back to, hey, good morning, beautiful? Like, everybody gets a good morning, beautiful, right? True, it's like there's, I think, people placed on hold at some points too, if because they feel like they're going to get their chance, so they want to hang on because, I want to be with him, and I feel him, and da-da-da-da.
But women do the same thing.
I'm sure they do.
They do. They got dudes in the inbox that saying, hey, beautiful, hey, queen, every morning to them, and they might not engage all the way, but they give just enough to keep him a little hopeful. So if this don't work out with what she got going on, guarantee she know who up next. Guarantee she know who up next. She might not be engaging in nothing, but in her mind she know who up next, and that's, to me, that's just as bad if you ask me, because that means you already got somebody in mind while you rocking with me. But see,
that's that vicious cycle.
Facts.
That's why everything on social media could be. It's your intention.
That is true.
It's like, it's like, okay, what do you want as a person? Like, I always keep it 100. I'm very transparent. If I go on a date, I'm not going to give you all my information because I want you to know me. I want you to be able to go through different seasons, right? I think if you can make it through those seasons, then you can lock it down.
Facts.
But if there is something, that I have a boundary to, or I'm not going to continue to talk to you. I need to cut it off because what's the point? For instance, if somebody was like, hey, I want to have kids. I don't have any kids. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's awesome. Well, I already have kids. So do you want stepkids? Do you want what you want? Oh, that's not it. You want biological kids. Well, I'm done having kids.
I'm done,
Right. So I appreciate your time. It was good knowing you. You're good people. But why would I continue to want to talk to you when I know it's not going to go anywhere? Like,
True.
I'm going to set you free to go do the things that you want. But a lot of people don't set people free.
Well, a lot of these women start thinking like men nowadays too, though.
Oh yeah.
And I think we got that too. I think that's like a new element dynamic to this whole thing, is that women think like men, they want to act like men, but want to be treated like women. And I you can't have it both ways, you know. So just like you say, yeah, they do that, but women do that too. They'll go on a date with you and make you feel like, but in a minute, next week they're on a date with the next one. You know what I'm saying? And they playing the same games that people feel like men play. You know, and it's hard to trust women nowadays, just like it's hard to trust men, because they playing by the same rules, and that's a fact.
Yeah, and it just is this vicious cycle.
It is, but how do you think we can fix that? Do you think we can at all?
That's tough. I think people have to fix themselves.
Okay, I can feel that.
You know, let's get ourselves right. Let's elevate ourselves. I think that kind of pertains to exactly what I'm trying to do with helping. I think when you can unload your baggage, you can be 100 with yourself. And I'm really big on like manifestation, you know, unlocking your mind, thinking differently. Things will come to you.
Right.
When you put out good energy comes back. When you do like a vision board, you know, I mean, it's real. And
Right.
I think when we take the time to unlock things about ourselves, we know what we want. We are going through and healing those painful parts, like you said earlier. We're not dragging it into the next thing.
Right.
If we can do that and just keep it a buck and just be like, this is who I am. I'd rather you love me for the truth than to like me for a lie.
And there you have
Because
it.
if you're going to be with me,
Right.
you know, and I just feel like if I'm being 100 and I'm being truthfully myself, if you don't like that, then you're not for me.
That's a fact.
I'm not going to be watered down or dumbed down. So again, I think just owning ourselves and with our intentions moving forward, I think we could do something.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, let them know how they can get with you. I want people to reach out to you. Let us know your websites, your social medias. Let them know how they can get in contact with you.
Okay, so my website is www.elevatehimnow. So that's an urgency.
Now.
You're like, now. You got it right now.
Right
you
now.
know.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so that's my website. .com, and you can check things out. Again, the merch, the pictures, there's donation buttons, there's ways to volunteer if you're local. Just really get involved, read the story, share it. I have IG, which is elevate.him, and then I have Facebook, Elevate Him, just one. I don't really do Twitter, but
Right.
and yeah, just kind of check me out. And there's email, there's ways to connect with me on those. You can inbox me, stuff like that. So there's ways to connect.
Dope. Again, one thing about this show, and like I say, it's really based in Portland platform. I got some national guests coming on here very soon, but I like to really base it out of Portland and highlight what people got going on out here, and make sure I give them their flowers while they're here. And I definitely want to give you yours. Even though you 7 months in, you've had a big impact already. You have a presence already. You're doing big things, and like I say, the trajectory where you're going is through the roof. And I want to salute you, say thank you, because what you're doing is big, and I think that your message is strong and it's one that needs to be heard. So keep doing what you're doing, man, and I'm in support all the way. But if you want to get in contact with me, you know what you need to do at DJ Pryce Miyagi, social media, Can We Talk Pod 1. Also Instagram and Twitter for that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you can be in tune. But it's your boy DJ Pryce Miyagi. We about to get up out of here. Again, Mama, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Had a great conversation. You guys, man, make sure you tap in with her. She got a lot going on, man. Get elevated now.
Elevated now.
Okay,
All
what we doing? Let them know that website one more time. I don't think they heard you the first time.
www.elevatehimnow.com.
Period. That's what we doing. So yeah, listen, tell a friend and tell a friend. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, notification bell. We about to get this thing moving. It's your boy DJ Pryce Miyagi. We got my girl Nickole in the building. We elevating him now. Not tomorrow, but when?
Right now.
Okay, let's get to it. Salute y'all. Y'all stay blessed and stay safe. Let's go.